Okay, so this is my modified Leatherman holster for the Surge. It would work for the Wave, the Charge, I'm sure just about any Leatherman holster. The main point was I did not want to have a Velcro or a snap cover to access the knife, yet I wanted it here nice and secure. It doesn't move, and yet it holds both sets of tool bits and two bit extensions. So I can draw it, open the knife with one hand, close it, and put it back securely without much effort. Kind of like quick draw McGraw. Here's why I did it and how I did it. Everyone will recognize the leather Surge holster. Could be a Leatherman, a Wave, or a Charge holster. Makes no difference. I really like the snap, not having Velcro. I liked it as a nice, even, flat, stiff surfaces. However, it has two limitations that all Leatherman leather cases have, and for reasons I just cannot comprehend. I'm baffled by this. They sell 2-bit kits, but only one fits in the leather holster. Now, common between this and the nylon holster is the loops at the bottom aren't closed on either side. I guess that works for a pen or a small flashlight, but what in the world do you do with your bit extension that comes with the bits? Well, it doesn't come with it, but you buy separately. It's a great feature, but it's going to fall at the bottom. Now, it does kind of, if you're lucky, when you put it in here, it kind of rests on the lip. Definitely more so than on the nylon version, but I don't get it. I don't get the having both open. I think one should be closed, and I think there should be room for 2 bit kits. So this is the nylon holster for the Surge. You know, they're all the same. Charge, Wave. This one's bigger, but my point is that I don't like Velcro, so that kind of bites, but that's a pretty minor thing. Most people won't care about that. Sorry about that. That's what you try to get from making a video with one hand. But same limitation on both open clips here. The Velcro, I removed it for the final case because I didn't want it to tear up my jackets, the liners on my jackets. So, here you go. This is a night ice holster, which works really well for the Charge. It's a bit tight for the Surge. It also only holds one pit kit, but it has this great feature, which I cannot do one-handed. If you're familiar with your flashlight holster, you know what I'm talking about. It's got this great rotating clip on there, so that when you're in your car or walking around, you can adjust it on the fly for maximum access and comfort. So I actually took this off of one older holster I have, and I might eventually figure out how to attach it to my new custom one, just for this part. Works great, though challenging. I love that it has a snap, but the main challenge is once you get it out, it's quite difficult to get it back in. This was my first attempt at customizing my own holster. I had seen one on Amazon called a tactical holster. It is no nylon at all. It is just a very slim metal sheath for the tool with a very rudimentary metal clip on the back. But the key is you slide your finger through to pull the knife out. But it didn't have any room for any tools, so I scrapped that one. Scrapped that idea, but I kind of stole the idea. Well, then I also saw that Adam Savage of Mythbusters fame. He makes one, but his is more elaborate in that he spends a lot of time tooling in a belt loop into the metal, the one-piece metal. But again, his does not hold the tools, the bits. And so what I did is, you can tell it's very unattractive. I'm sorry about that. I don't have many skills, but I got some ideas. So I essentially made the metal sheath. The finger slides out the tool, and then I literally took a hot knife and I cut out the slot and epoxied this into this holster. It actually works quite well. The limitations are that just due to the tension here and the way that the case was built, to get my belt loop, I have a pretty big belt, to get my belt into the belt loop each day, I had to pull the bit kits out so this would lay flat. Then I slide the belt through. Then I put the tools in, the bits back in. It's kind of a hassle. Also, there is a bit of a, an aesthetic issue. It's just kind of funky looking, but it did work. It does work. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. So it actually works pretty well. Pretty pleased with the results considering how unhandy I am. Just when it's on my belt, of course, I just take it through, and this comes right off because this is attached to your belt, and you can pull out your knife very, very quickly, and it's extremely fast to put back in. It's not when you're one-handed, but it is when you're on your belt. This clicks right in. There's no need to go back. There's no need to Velcro it closed or snap it closed. It goes right in. It's very secure. Won't come out. So I wanted to improve the belt loop portion, and I definitely wanted a better aesthetic, and came up with a few more ideas, and that's how I ended up with the final holster that you saw at the beginning of the video. And now I will show you the interior of the new one, how I built it, or what it looks like inside. All right, here's the holster up close. As you can see, it is just a Leatherman nylon holster that came with the multi-tool. I removed the loop portion of the Velcro because if you wear it like I do every day, and you wear the same jacket every day, it will tear up the liner of your jacket. Obviously, one of the key points is I cut the flap off so that I wouldn't have to have a flap. That also necessitated that the bottom have a raised area. So the little aluminum box I built has a several millimeter deep riser on the bottom so that the tool will stick out far enough out of the holster to pull it out. Now I might not be able to do it. I was able to do it without it being on my belt. There's so much tension on here. I don't want to lose my tool, so I built quite a bit of tension in there so it won't come out. But if it's on your belt, it creates enough tension on your belt that you can pull it out and remove the tool. I've pointed out that I don't like the way Leatherman didn't have a bottom on here or very secure loop for the bit extension that they provide. So I riveted on this from an older Surge. You could come off of any Leatherman that has the bit kit attachment. I just riveted that right on the bottom, and that securely keeps the tool when I'm not using it. Now if I try to put that back in there one-handed, I guarantee I can't do it, so I'm not even going to bother. On the other side, this is a bit extension with a sleeve. These are very handy when you're using a Leatherman. You really need the sleeve to keep the screw from falling off the bit. So I usually use it in as much as I can, or if I'm using regular hex bits. I wish Leatherman put the sleeve on there, but regardless, the sleeve itself makes enough tension on the loop where it doesn't come off. this has been ground down so it also works in the bit extension that comes on the tool. There are also two risers here and here. The main reason that the risers are on the back, so on the bottom it keeps the tool so that it raises up outside of the holster. The ones on the back are designed for two purposes. One is to keep the back belt loops as square as possible on the tool. If I did not put the risers on here, there would be a distinct curve to the belt loops, and the only way to get your belt through the belt hoops is to pull the bit kit out every day you put your pants on or your belt on. I didn't want to do that. So the riser, one, makes more of a flat surface, making it easier to put the belt through without taking the bit kit out. And it creates a space for the bit kits and the saw. You can kind of see it. The saws go, I got two saw blades. They go in here, and the raised area prevents the bits from actually creating any kind of tension on the tool when it's in the holster. I did that because I wanted to control over how much tension I put on the multi-tool, so that when I pull it out or in, it's based on the shape of the box and the spring that I built in here. It's really hard to see. I just cut a tab out of the aluminum and pushed it in a little bit with a little bevel on it so it doesn't catch on the bottom of the tool. And that's the primary way I adjust tension on there. And so that whether the tool bits are in here or not has no relationship on the tension on the tool in the holster for safety for purchase on there. If you understand, sometimes you don't have your bit kit, but you don't want your multi-tool falling out if it's dependent on the tension created by the bit kit. So that's why the risers are on the back. This has a back, a front, and two sides, making it square. Duh. There are little tabs cut into the edges here of the square, of the rectangle, and slots for the tabs. And then I cut little tabs on the end of the pieces that keeps it square. As you can see, I do, even when I take the bits out, maybe I'll be able to. Wow, I actually was able to do it. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. See, when this is on your belt, you get a lot more control over it, so it's not as awkward as it looks. But anyway, see, I have not lost any control. Any of the rectangular, this is the same, whether the bit kits are in there or not. And I have not lost any control over the security of the multi-tool. The two circles in the bottom are two rare earth magnets, which come on the back of all things, a work badge holder, metal work badge holder, and it comes with 3 magnets, and I cut the third one off and cut holes in the bottom, and that just, again, is just for a little bit more security. I don't know how much extra security it has, but since I've been using it, I've not lost my tool yet, and I do a lot of jumping up and down in and out of my work vehicle, and regular workplace kind of use. Between the little spring I built in and the magnets, I've not lost it yet. I think that's about it. I pointed out, I riveted that in. That's on the bottom of the bottom riser. If I had put it anywhere else, if the tool went further in, it would run into the bottom of the rivet. And lastly, this is kind of a small deal, but I think it's pretty important. On this edge here, and this edge here, you'll see 2 little cutouts. That's because on the Wave, Charge, and Surge, and possibly others, the knife edge sticks out above here and here, sticks out above the square of the rectangle that makes up the tool. I was afraid over time, if I didn't cut these grooves in here, the rectangle would go from having 90-degree angles to bending out, and then I would have less security on how the tool is secured in the box. Again, I want to have complete control with my spring and the magnets, so that whether the bits are in there or not, or whether, you know, I don't want the square to lose the integrity of the shape of the edges. So I cut those grooves in there. I don't know how important that is or not. So that's how I do it. I think you get the idea. You could do any. You could probably do. I guarantee you, this would work a lot better in the leather one. If you want to do this on the leather one, it would look better and probably work better. But you still wouldn't be able to put two tools, bit kits in there. But that's it. And I hope you like the idea, and maybe you're able to make one for yourself or similar, or adapt it for yours if you want.